It's Rob and welcome to Axel's Garage. Today we are working on the Big Dummies K5. We got it wrapped and we're all ready to go. We got to start getting it together. Now this vehicle does stay outside, it doesn't go in a garage, so we got to get it sealed up. And the window on the passenger side actually goes up and down. This window is completely dead and the soft top is off. So what we're going to do first is, it's a nice day today. It's cloudy and overcast. It's not supposed to rain, but it looks like it might get us a little sprinkle every now and then. So the first thing we're going to do, what?
It is Avery.
It is Avery?
Yes.
So the first thing we're going to do is get the soft top back on, and because our hard drive completely crashed, we had a video
Falls.
We had a video of the installation of the soft top for this K5, and we lost all the footage. So even though it's partially assembled, what we're going to do is we're going to walk you through that installation process of putting that soft top on, and we'll get it on here. Hopefully it shouldn't take too long, and we'll get it on. This way at least we got the majority of the truck sealed up in case we do get a little shower, and then we'll start working on the other stuff for the truck. Alright, so these are the side rails. They bolt in to the factory holes where the hardtop bolted into, not every one that the hardtop used. So we ran the wrap up and over, so we're going to have to slice with a little razor where the holes are. We don't need to do all the holes because we're not putting the hardtop on right now or for the foreseeable future. Now when you first put this on, what they suggest that you do is you lay it out on a table. Each side rail comes in two pieces and it connects together in the middle with a little bracket. So what we're going to do is, putting it back on now, we're going to put it back on in in two pieces instead of making it one piece and laying it up there. So all we're doing now is we're going to take this and we're going to lay it right over the holes. We put little slits in the holes with a razor, and then we're going to take the hardware and we're not going to tighten it down. We are just going to loosely put it in because we might have to slide it front to rear before we tighten it down for our final cinch down. This uses the factory safety Torx, they call them, or tamper resistant Torx bolts. So I'm just going to find the nut. Now this rail does have a weather strip underneath it, if you see here. I don't remember. Do you remember if that weather strip came on the rail or we had to put it on the rail? We had to put it on the rail?
Yeah.
Rail? In the kit. Alright, so we're going to get it in like that, and I'm just going to give them a little bit with the wrench, but I'm not going to tighten it down. So the factory hardtop has those tamper resistant Torx bolts. They are, see if I can read this thing. They are a 40, and I'm using a Snap-on FTXR 40. And I bought this back in 1991. Tamper resistant Torx anyway. So I'm just leaving them loose so that we can slide this around. You can see there is a little bit of play and adjustment in it. I don't want to cinch it down yet until we completely know exactly where we want to put it. Good? Mm-hmm. Alright, so we got in the front and the rear loosely in place, and now you got these brackets, and these are the brackets that serve two purposes. It's a pivot point for the structure for the soft top, and it's also going to hold the two rails together. So these take washers, and I'm gonna sort of had them in the middle, and little lock nuts. Let me get a socket for the lock nut. Push. So while the big dummy's pushing from that end to get them together tight, I'm just tapping to make sure that they're even going across that way. And tighten these down. I'm not going real tight with them yet. I don't want to do that until we get the whole rail buttoned down. Alright, so after we got both side rails loosely put in place, we need to concern ourselves with the top. Now when this was originally packaged, we had a roll of this weather stripping. It's got a little bit of a lip to it, and how this would go. This goes all the way on the other side, but just to show you how it would go, it sticks to the body here and creates a seal right here. and then we're going to put another bracket that's going to get sandwiched on top of it, and this is what seals the back end of the cab. This did come with an adhesive on the back. It was, you know, like a peel and stick type of thing. We peeled it off. We got it clean right now. How does your mother's hair get on this? And what we're going to do, and that's dog hair, and what we're going to do now is we're going to take this, we're going to use a little weather strip adhesive just to tack it in place and hold it in place. We're going to use it. What are you?
I was looking at what you were doing.
We're going to take a little weather strip adhesive. We're going to put it on here just because this adhesive is a little worn. The weather strip adhesive will help it seal. Really not 100% necessary because this is going to get sandwiched really tight when we put the top bracket on. So it's just for a little added insurance that water doesn't get in there. So we're going to lay this across, and then the factory bracket. Let me grab that factory bracket. Factory bracket comes in 2 pieces. It's got it's shipped flat, right, and it's got this plate here that joins the 2 pieces together. So when you set it up, you're going to attach it together. This is the dead center of the truck. You're going to plop this down, and then you are going to bend it, and you got to do this on your own. You got to bend it around for the contour of the truck, and then these brackets are going to, again, use the factory holes where the hardtop mounted. And it's also got a weather stripping, and again, I don't know if we had to put this on afterwards. I think we probably had to put this on too. A self-stick weather stripping that is going to seal the top to the bracket. So what we're going to do now is put that weather stripping in. Then this lays on top of that weather stripping, sandwiching that weather stripping to the cab, and then this weather stripping is for the top to the top of the bracket, so that it seals anything from coming in there. So we're protected here and we're protected here. And it does actually seal up really well. We haven't had really any leak issues at all. Maybe a drip or 2 got in heavy rains while driving, but never while it was standing still, and never driving in normal rains. Maybe just that occasional real heavy rain when you're driving at like highway speeds is when we had like maybe a drip or 2. But for the most part, this is really dry. And this is the Softopper brand. Like I said, I'll put a link in the description below. But this particular top, I had I think mine was like a Carolina or something like that back in 1990. Carolina is something like Colorado, something like that. Colorado, Carolina, something with a C. I don't remember the name, but I did have more leaks than this setup. This setup is much better than Softopper. Is definitely much better than that old brand. I don't even think you can get that old brand anymore. Alright, so we put the top piece on and we fought with this weather stripping that goes under the top piece. And just because from being crunched under that top piece for the 2 years that it was on the truck, it was, you know, out of shape, and we were trying to get it in there, and every time we tightened that top rail down, it would like curl the weather stripping. So if you're doing this and you're putting it on a second time, go to Softopper and buy a new piece of weather stripping. What it kept doing was it kept curling back. So what we did, in order just to make it look decent more than anything else, is we kind of filled a bead of weather strip adhesive, and maybe we'll just do a little bit more over there to make it look even. Once it dries, it'll all look like a piece of weather strip and probably never notice it. But it doesn't look horrible. I think once it dries and it loses that shine, we really could not get the weather stripping, so we got to wait before we put the top on. So now what you do over here is, right underneath here there's a little screw, and on the back side of the rail is a locking nut, and you tighten that in as you're pushing forward to get it in there, and then you can tighten your rails down and have them, I liked it where they're as much forward as possible. So we got our rails all the way forward, we tighten this one. Now this one, what we did was come in the, where's my hammer? So we got this tight here, which is holding it forward into there, this bottom of the top rail. And then the side rail, we pushed all the way forward. And now the back rail is the only one we got to tighten, and all I just do is take a little hammer and just give it a shot, making sure it's all the way forward against that one. Right, you want it to be reasonably even right there. The other side, when we tighten the other side, it was just like bent a little off, so we just took a pair of channel locks and bent it back in so that you got a nice smooth transition there. And then this is the last one. And that's tightened. Now, when we start putting the rails on, this is also an adjustment as well. And Robbie picked up that this is the aligning stud for the hardtop, that this one and that one is a little different on the aligning stud. This one's a little farther back than that one is. So we kind of eyeball them when we put them in to have them right in the middle, but we're going to loosen these up. So when we put the top in, the top actually fits exactly the way we want it. All right, so once we pop the assembly here into those two pins on the side, Robbie, you just want to show the side pin how it goes in with that little like keychain style thing. Then you got your back piece and this piece, and I just put the straps on just to hold it. These straps have an adjustment so that once you get the top on, you're going to tighten that loop in order to pull these closer together or loosen it to get them farther together so that you have your roof layout the way you like it. So it's sort of going to sit like this, right? And then you tighten this, and then you can pull that down, cinch that down, and that's what gives it its shape once we get the top on, but we can't put the top on until that weather strip adhesive dries. All right, so we were doing some other projects while we were waiting for that weather stripping adhesive to dry, and everything went dead. It's getting dark. The video camera battery went dead. Robbie left. Emily's
Your phone's
filming.
gonna die soon.
My phone's gonna die soon, and we gotta get this top on. All we're gonna do is get the top snapped in place. We're not gonna adjust it or tension it tonight. We'll do that tomorrow when we have some light and we can show you how to adjust and tension the top.
I'm not.
All right, I'm just running the snaps above the top, just on top. All right, now in the back on this rear rail is a set of snaps. The top is going to snap to that. This lip runs around. And all right, once we get most of them snapped in, we can flop this over. Now you see how it's pulling down like that, and that will be cured by adjusting these tensioning rods just a little bit right now, because we're going to leave it loose for tonight and then we'll adjust it when we can actually see it. All right, so in the dark last night we got the top thrown up. It was loosely just stretched over. When we first set this up, it comes, if you look over here, Robbie, it comes with this pivot pin in the middle. So we used it in the middle, and what I did was I'm dropping it down because the top did have a tendency to like, we had to put too much pressure on it. So we almost like put too much pressure to an extent. So what we're doing now is we're just gonna bring it down so that we're not always putting these bows so high into it, pulling it back. So you can see over here, what we did was we had so much pressure on it to keep it taut, it actually does this, which we can't seem to get rid of anymore. That's sort of the shape in there because of our installation initially. So what we're trying to do is just keep it so that it's not so much tension on all the snaps, but it's still nice and taut where it's not flowing around. So we move this one down to the bottom, and now we just got to get the pin all the way through the little C-clip that locks that pin in place, and then the little this little guy here that holds the rod onto the pin. So we'll do that now, and then we'll get back to you. All right, with the pins now locked into the lower position, we can, the straps going across to the middle bow are loose, and we can attach our rear straps on both sides like this. Okay, just attach that one. Now these pivots are loose, and what these pivots adjust is where the rear bar in the back window sits, how far this way. Now we did have it in the middle, which is about here, and we would notice that the top as it came around would make a sharp bend. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it all the way out, and we're going to see what that looks like there. Alright, so now with them all the way out, these are still loose, and what these are going to do is these you're going to tighten down to get the ass end down. Alright, so now I'm going to let these windows down. I just had them rolled up so that we can get everything in place, and I'm going to snap the sides in. And you can see when we get to this back one, it wants to go up, so you can give it a little pull and bring it down. Now we didn't adjust this at all yet. This will pull the whole back down, but we're just leaving it loose for right now. So now we'll bring this back window down. You can see how the pole doesn't even want to go in here because it needs to come down a little. So what we could do is we could grab this one and we could just give it a little pull. You could actually put pressure with your other hand on this one, pull it down so that it slides all the way in. And I just did it so it fits all the way in. I didn't over pull down that back. And the same thing over here. So your pole is like just giving it a little tension. It's just missing by a little bit. So if I reach in, give the strap a pull, and just give it a little tug like that, you can see this is coming down, and now I could slide it in place. All right, so we got this in place and this in place. Now, when it comes around, we're hoping that it'll be a nice smooth transition from the Alright. So we close that zipper and then the Velcro comes over and we have a pretty smooth transition. We don't have a big wrinkle here. There's always going to be a little bit of a wrinkle, but when we had this farther in, they made the wrinkle bigger because it wasn't bringing the window out. It does look a lot better. Alright, on this side the same thing. Alright, this side's got a look. See, this side's got that same.
The heat will help it though.
Wrinkle. The heat will help it, but why is it sticking over so much on this side and not on that side? Alright, so I'll bet. Let me just take a look here. Alright, so we could even bring it down just a little more. Like that. Make the transition smoother. Okay, now we got a big wrinkle here. See, when it was up higher, you had less of a wrinkle. Alright, what I'm thinking is we can loosen this.
It actually looks a lot different.
And we can I don't know that these both have to be in the same exact spot on either side. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So we could push this one in. I'm gonna go. I'll go halfway. Let's see if that changes anything. All right, halfway. Now we close this.
That looks better.
Much better. All right, so that's all we did was we have that one's out all the way, this one's halfway, and it looks pretty good. What if we go in a little bit more? No? No, it looks about even. Right? Come back here. It's about even. Actually, I can push this one in a little bit too. This one's going a little. This one's a little less than half. Like a quarter. That looks nice, right?
Yeah. And that wrinkle on the left one will go away.
A little wrinkle, yeah. Let me go in a little bit more and see what happens. You could always come back out. There you go.
I like it.
All right, so then all you have to do, I just did that side when I retightened it, but all you have to do is just take these, give it a little oomph, just to pull them taut, and that's it. So you have your back window. Now, the Softopper top comes with a piece of Velcro that you can stick to your body, but if you're careful, and you always have this flap on the outside, you're not going to get rain inside. When you're fast in the rain, sometimes you have a tendency, you slam the tailgate and this is on the inside, then you get rain inside. But you keep it on the outside, you're good. You don't necessarily have to put the Velcro unless you want to. It's black Velcro, so if you have a black truck, you really won't notice it when it's off. That's the thing. When it's off, it kind of looks funny with the other side of the Velcro sitting there. So the only other adjustment is inside, and I'll show you how you do that. All right, so in the middle here, you have this bow. And this bow comes up and it meets the ceiling so that it's taut here and taut back here to create any flapping. So what I like to do is grab it, don't adjust it with the straps so much, where you grab it in the middle, push it up into the top a little bit, and just give it a little bit of tension like that. Hold it, get that one there, and get that one there, and now you're good, and that's it. If you really jam on these, you could really push and jam on them, but when you do that, you just create unnecessary tension on the top. Because you see how it's hitting there? It's just barely hitting there, but in the middle, you got this flap, so you want to get rid of that flap in the middle. So you're going to push it up and back, and then tighten, and tighten. Now as the sun hits it, if you notice that you're getting a lot of flapping like this, all you do is just push it back up a little higher, give it a little tighten, and a little tighten, and you're good to go.
Tuck those straps around.
All right, and then, yes, you could take these straps, you could zip tie them, or you could just wrap them around like this, which is what we do. And the reason why I'm as, cable tie, zip tie kind of guy.
But when you're using them frequently?
Yeah, but when you're when you're putting the top up and down and you got to adjust it from time to time, it's much easier to do this. Now they're up and out of the way. Alright, so that's it for a quick install or reinstall on this Softopper. Softtop, like I said, the original video we lost when our hard drive crashed when we first installed this. It's been about 2 years, right? We did 2 winters with this. We got it for
senior year?
Actually, this is the 3rd year.
3rd year.
Wow.
Freshman year of college.
We haven't had the hard top back on since we got the soft top winter and all. We even took the glass out of the tailgate to make the tailgate lighter. We're just going to leave the soft top on. This install went much better. My only recommendation when it's new is that you don't overstretch it like we did, because we were trying to get it really tight, and what we did was we overstretched it, and we had that center bar, like I said, you saw how we moved it down low. It was in the middle, and it always seemed like it was going up. Now it's kind of like nice and even. Doesn't look like it's going up in the back. Looks much sleeker, much nicer. When you do take it off and replace it, that seal, like I was telling you guys and showing you, that weather strip that goes over this rail right to the body, between the body and the top rail, get another one. Just, you know, call them up, order it, get another one, and it can't be much money. What is it, 15, 20 bucks? It's worth it because it'll make it go back on much easier. But that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video, and we'll keep you posted on more updates getting this K5 back together. Thanks for watching.